Okay, I think for me the resident experience or the patient experience is very high. You know, I think that there's been a shift in architecture over recent years away from large institutionalised spaces, focusing down on the residents' areas. And I think that the way that the residents interact with the space and how the space interacts with them, the environment, I think it has a very healing quality. And I think there's research to demonstrate that. And I think that we certainly find that as a client. You know, in our homes that, you know, care homes for the elderly, the environment has a big impact on the resident. You know, it's a happier life if they can interact with the space, if they get some quality of life, rather than just sat within an institutional space.
And can you see that in the proposal?
We can. I mean, we've just been discussing that we've really only based it on interior shots. So from the interior shots and the plans, you can get a sense of space from the building, the way that it flows and how the spaces interact with each other. And there's a real quality to the internal spaces. You know, a warmth of colour and a warmth of texture that I think will help people with the problems that, you know, that the people have got within that facility.
Yeah, the bigger projects seem to concentrate more on the communal areas and less focus on the individual bedroom. And as a group, we were looking for typically a patient room, not just for the patient but also for their families and where their families would be. And the smaller projects clearly do concentrate on that because there's more detail on elements, and so we saw a lot more consideration of the patient experience in the smaller projects. Hence, I think that's why we've chosen the smaller project.
The projects we've been shown have been global. There's a whole global number of projects. And in the period of 3 hours, to be shown some global projects is quite a wonderful experience, really, because there's no way that personally I'd be able to go and see all these hospitals. And that's the special thing about this organisation, that it exposes people to a global range of projects. One project, for example, that comes to mind is a part of the Australian outback, and I think that's kind of an incredible idea that an alcoholic, you know, facility should be located in the outback. Many of the projects, I think, are important for being located in urban situations, and again, you know, hospitals need to be in the city. The hospital needs to be a part of the fabric of the city, and we've seen lots of examples of those.
Well, it's a big hospital and it's complicated, and it organises itself, I think, very clearly.
Well, it's actually 3 hospitals. It's a confederation of 3, isn't it? There's a paediatric hospital, a women's hospital, and a general adult hospital. And they do have some interface at the clinical level, where in the large treatment areas there's a sort of back-to-back configuration between the women and the adult. But then it articulates itself separately as it comes out of the ground.
And then so that links back into the context of the wider urban framework, which is relatively regular grid, and it opens up to existing routes in and out and across the site.
I think, where is the diagram? There's one of the drawings here is the most telling diagram. It actually looks at the whole site and how they get in there, and then how it articulates as it goes up the building. And you can see it there as an aerial shot, but this is really about how do you develop a great big urban block in a gridded plan, which is Abu Dhabi, where all the heights of buildings seems to be regulated, and you've got this regular orthogonal grid. Because as I say, one of the interesting things about this is they went in for backland development.
Yeah, so you created the urban block, which you've broken up.
Yes.
You created some actually very distinct urban spaces within it.
Yeah.
And then within the built form, you've got the organisation of the podium
you've got the crossing grids
opposite to
yes.
the organisation of the ward block.
Yes, what you call the Jenga plan.
Yeah.
It's right angles to each other. Yeah,
which creates nice voids between, and those are really exploited
yes.
in the public realm of the hospital.
And they are treated differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which gives it a distinct feel. So
I think also there's a degree of sophistication in not only the treatment of the spaces, but also the cladding and the layering of the cladding for the principal functions of the
but also the scale of the public spaces. It's not overwhelmingly sort of gigantic. It still relates to a human scale. It shows in these sort of drawings that the spaces there. It's urban scale, it's human scale, it's not saying something is a monstrous great building and you're overwhelmed by the sense of the institution. It's not. It's broken it down to you as the user.
It also, the way it's detailed, it's restrained, it has clarity,
yes.
but also has an emphasis on making each block individually spacious individual, so it will have a distinct personality.
Yeah.
I think it's unusual in that it's a very big, sophisticated and complex hospital which allows the city to penetrate into, as a result of some of the site and contextual planning, that you have roads and boulevards penetrating into the hospital, and that extends to a planting scheme which brings trees into shaded central spaces, and those extend out into the world beyond. And I think that level of integration is really a way forward, not only for hospitals in the Middle East, but more generally.